Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Show. I'm your host, Samantha, Salmon, certified holistic health coach, author of You Can Afford to Be Healthy. Bam! And today we are talking about brain health. So I posted on social media that by the age of 35, our brain actually starts to shrink. And I asked everyone, what are you doing to ensure optimal brain health? And this is what you had to say. Those are all great ideas. I wanted to share with you what I'm doing to ensure optimal brain health on a daily basis. Because as you know, 2018 is the year for my brain. I'm focusing on my brain health. What can I do to make it be as sharp as possible? So that's been my focus for 2018, and I've talked about it a lot. So I'm gonna go through the list of 5 things I do on a daily basis to ensure optimal brain health. Haven't yet hit 35, but I'm starting now, so these things are a habit. A lot of them you'll notice I talked about in my book, and we've talked about it on the show, and the links for all of that, including my book, is in the description below under episode resources, so be sure to check them out if you would like more information. So, number 1, I remember my dreams. Every night when I go to bed, I set an intention to remember my dreams the next morning. And guess what? Before, when I heard about this from my brain coach, I was like, how am I going to remember my dreams? I never remember my dreams. But it works. All you have to do is make the intention to remember. And of course, there's some tips and tricks to make sure it doesn't escape your mind right when you wake up, because that is typically what the issue is, right? We have these awesome dreams, or maybe some even bad dreams, but we can't remember when we wake up in the morning. The reason why remembering my dreams is so important is because when you sleep, your brain is still working on the problems that you've had in the day. So you're actually working on finding solutions at night. When I wake up in the morning, I have great ideas. Another thing that actually helps me with finding solutions to questions that I'm mulling over is when I'm in the shower and when I'm on the john. You know. Number 2, I hydrate. We talked extensively about water on a previous episode, so I won't go into too much detail. And I talk about it in the book, how much water you should be drinking on a daily basis. We have to make sure to drink a lot of water. Like I mentioned on an earlier episode, the brain is 85% water and the body is 50% water. So you know water is super important. Number 3, I write with my left hand. I am by nature right-handed, so I write with my left hand and try to do other things with my left hand because it connects the left and right hemispheres and makes the brain sharper. It's definitely a challenge, but the more you do it, the better you get. And I'm not really reaching for perfection, I'm reaching for progress. Remember that with everything that you're doing, any goal you're trying to achieve, you want progress, not perfection. Number 4 is exercise, specifically HIIT, high intensity interval training, which we've talked about on a previous episode. Make sure to do it. You actually don't need to work out an hour every day. I've had so many people contact me saying, this is what I want to do, an hour every day, an hour 5 days a week. You don't need to do that if you're doing the right amount of exercise. Not only does it burn more fat, but it's great for the brain. So HIIT, that's number 1. Number 2, in this same category, is cross-body movement. So when I do my exercise, I make sure to do cross-body movements. Either it's, elbow to opposite knee, or doing this, like if you work in an office every hour, doing this and doing squats while you're doing it. My eyeballs are going to the right because I'm looking at the camera, looking at myself, making sure that it's showing up properly. But basically you want to cross and squat And my favorite, boxing. Back in the day, my favorite exercise DVD or exercise program was Turbo Jam by Chalene Johnson, produced or marketed by Beachbody. Love that brand, love Chalene, love Turbo Jam. It was so much fun. It's still one of my favorite things to fuse dancing and boxing, and it automatically has those cross-body movements in them. Now with exercise comes deep breathing. Deep breathing is very important for the brain because not only are you massaging the organs inside your stomach, right? The diaphragm is lifting up and down as you breathe into your belly and breathe deep, but you're sending oxygen to the brain. I find that when I exercise, my body just does this naturally. So I don't necessarily need to carve out special time for deep breathing exercises, even though I'll do them here and there throughout the day. But when I exercise, it forces me to do that. Another fun thing I love to do to foster or encourage deep breathing is singing. I love to sing. So what I do is, because I'm a time saver and I'm busy, I like to fuse singing and exercise all together. And I love to dance, so I put dance in my exercise. So I do HIIT dance with singing. Maybe the next thing for next year is a workout DVD. Hey. And number 5, of course, is brain foods. There's brain tea that I do every day, or brain smoothies. I typically like to do tea if I'm in an office, and it's cold or something like that. But my brain smoothies are a staple that I literally hands down do every single day. Dark leafy greens, berries, raw cacao. For the brain tea, ginkgo, gotu kola are really great herbs. Tulsi is good, and rosemary is also good. I like to diffuse rosemary essential oil as well. And when I'm working at my desk, I have a rosemary essential oil bottle that I just will sniff a little bit, send some rosemary positive vibes to my brain. And also in terms of my food, I think the other top 3 foods that I consume that are great for the brain that I haven't mentioned already would be avocados, extra virgin olive oil, and flaxseed oil, which I did show you guys on a previous episode about oil, so check that out. Okay, so the bonus that I mentioned is reading, and I'd like to add to that journaling, because journaling is also really great for the brain, but I do these two in combination. What I like to do is I read, and as I read, I take notes and I write my thoughts on what I'm reading, my opinions, and how I feel about what I'm reading. And so I love to do that. So far this year, I have read 15 books. Wow, that puts me at 5 books a month. I can't even believe it. But let me share with you, I know I've been asked on Twitter and I haven't yet answered because I'm deep in so many books and I'm creating all these videos for you guys. But I'd like to share with you the top books that I've read so far this year. Not all 15, but these would be my top ones that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Okay, first is, I would say, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. She's an awesome writer. That was a great book about basically busting through limiting beliefs, and I can relate to a lot of the stuff that she's saying in the book, and the way she wrote the book is phenomenal. If anyone's a writer, like, she is definitely someone I aspire to write like. So much of her personality is in that book, and I just absolutely loved it. Secondly, I would say Rise and Grind by Damon John. Damon John is from Queens, New York, my hometown, and he just hustled, and he showcased all these people who rise and grind, like they reminded me of myself, my parents who came from Jamaica with nothing, grew up poor and came to this country and, built their own businesses, earned 6 figures, hired people, supported their families, bought a house, bought a car, like nice cars, like gave us kids a great life. And they started with nothing. That immigrant mentality, which I loved growing up in Queens, New York. I respect it so much. Doing the work and not giving up, keep moving forward because you believe ultimately in yourself. And I would add to that, when you are an entrepreneur like myself, you really stand behind what you're doing and what you're doing for the world at large, because that's something that's super important to me. Is when I put my work on something, it has to mean something. It can't just be about the money. There has to be a social good or some kind of benefit to the world, or else I'm not really feeling it. You know what I'm saying? But when you have that momentum behind you, it helps to push you through the hard times. And best believe there will be hard times over and over and over again. It's the cycle of life, because God does not promise, heaven on earth necessarily. It's all in your mind, right? So you have to prepare the space in your mind to stay in a happy place, in a positive place. But things will happen in this world, in life. That's what life is all about. So those are, I would say, my top 2 books. 2 more I would like to mention. The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. It's hard to remember their names, but The One Thing, that book is awesome. If you ever have trouble focusing and you're trying to achieve a goal, this is definitely a great book to read. Basically, in summary, you focus on that one thing. But it applies to so many different areas of life. Really great book. And then the other book I wanted to mention is Influence by Robert Cialdini. And all my family members know I've been talking about this book a lot because it's really interesting. It's really about psychology. The guy that wrote the book, he's a professor of psychology, and it just talks about why we do the things we do and how to influence others and why we're influenced and what we're influenced by. So it's a very interesting book. If you're interested in psychology, definitely a great book to read, especially if you're interested even on what's happening in the news right now with the mass shootings and stuff like that. It's still a good book to read because you kind of understand another layer of what's happening in the world and how media plays into the whole thing. So definitely pick it up. The next books that I'm dying to read are The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish and Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I'm dying to read those books. All right, you guys, that's it for today's show. Next week, we're talking about anemia, why you should take it seriously, and what you can do about it if you've been told by the doctor that you're anemic. Some natural, healthy, holistic modalities, some recipes that you can utilize to help you through that process, because I personally do not take any pharmaceutical drugs. I don't take any over-the-counter supplements or anything like that. I'm not shopping at GNC and all of that. I go to the pharmacy, F-A-R-M, pharmacy, my healing kitchen, to find what I need. And so I'm gonna, show you that from the perspective of someone who's dealing with anemia. I personally don't have anemia. I mean, hell, if I did, I wouldn't know because I don't go to the doctor, but I'm super good. I have energy. So I guess I don't have it, but we're going to talk about it next week. All right. Have a great day. Hey, are you looking to release excess body fat, sleep better, and feel more comfortable in your body? I can help you get there. Join me as we go through goal setting, meal planning, establishing an exercise routine that's fun, and properly hydrating your body for weight loss, success, and optimal health. Get the individualized attention you need to finally reach your health goals. The number one challenge people face with reaching their health goals is consistency. By the end of this program, you'll have a consistent exercise routine and consistent healthy eating habits. I've also included some bonus material on the exact strategies I use to figure out what areas in my body needs the most support and what to do to support and nourish it. So click on the link to get started, and I look forward to seeing you soar to your goals.